endgame section a little later on. Another dimension of complexity is character builds.
So she does have Jinsei though, so I mean, you just learn the team rotation for the Jinsei character, and then you kind of never have to worry about anything ever again. It's the same exact thing for Carlotta. So I'm not really sure where this viewpoint is coming from. It's like, the characters are there with the very simplified kits for you. Like, she has it right here.
Despite the amount of time and effort this eats up, I personally don't think of it as something that Wuwa really leans into in any kind of satisfying way. Character and Forte talent levels are linear, weapons are gacha, echo stats are endless RNG, and there's surprisingly little flexibility when it comes to echo sets. None of this gives players much control. At best, we can pick a weapon and an echo set and then grind for the stats we want, but the end result is a net negative for me. Build complexity is at its best when you have a host of different options, providing lots of control over how the build fits together, plus tangible effects on the gameplay, which creates opportunities for creativity and innovation.
So this is my counterpoint. She's one of the people that really wanted a lot of complexity in the character building, but then complained about the mechanical complexity of playing the game, of actually playing the game. I think it's fair to say that Kuro preferred something with less complexity in the actual character building. Pretty like cut and paste, easy to understand stats and what to like know is best in slot, and then made the combat more complicated, the actual execution. While the prep time, you don't nearly have as much of it. And so from this point of view, I think it's well balanced in that you don't need a PhD to build the character or build team comps. Remember that whole thing about ICDs and Genshin Impact, guys?
What the hell?
You need like to actually do research to know whether or not your team can trigger reactions properly based off of the ICD and application of every unit on there. That's stupid. Just let me play the fucking game. Just let me play the game. And in Wuwa, outside of extreme high-level play where you're like trying to abuse certain swap windows, you kind of just play the game. You kind of just practice and play the game. You don't need a fucking PhD to understand like how to trigger the maximum number of coordinated attacks or when to precisely cancel a move to ensure that like all of the ticks are happening. You just kind of practice, you get a feel for it, and it works. And so I don't really see a problem with the builds not being complex, because it just means you spend less time in the stat menu and more time, you know, attacking things.
Creativity and innovation in how players approach the game. In Wuwa, from what I can tell, there's usually only one ideal build for each character, and the equipment system just boils down to a grind towards that singular goal. People love the lack of 50-50 for weapons, but in this game, the free weapons are so trash that if you want any semblance of the power level you'd expect, you're basically required to spend your astrites on the weapon banner, especially for DPS characters.
What about Emerald to Genesis or Static Mist, though? What about that, though?
Ignoring that one gripe about the weapons, the